I always find that corporations are sincere about diversity. I can't find a corporation that hasn't been sincere, but I find that few or a, a smaller group,
Mhm.
everyone is sincere, but a smaller group is serious.
I just had an incredible conversation with Nina Vaca, who not only is the largest Hispanic owned global firm um, in her industry, but also she is a woman who has learned to blend and to prosper others through her personal journey. Um, she grew up with an entrepreneur family, which laid the foundation of her building Pinnacle. Um, she has beautiful family, kids, husband Jim, and I think you will more than enjoy the time that I spent with Nina. We covered an array of topics, not just professionally, but personally. One thing that I enjoy about this podcast are the executives and the leadership that are able to be transparent. I think transparency is a key to effective leadership. It's a key to effective growth. We talked about growth mindset and so many different things. So please enjoy this time with Nina and our conversation. It truly was a conversation. Enjoy. Thank you. Now, courage seems to be a recurring theme in your career. How do you define courage in leadership, Nina? And how has it guided you in making some tough decisions?
That would probably be the second piece to if I had a recipe, one would be the growth mindset, and the other would be courage. I think the combination of those two has landed me where I am today. And I define courage as the strength and the ability to do the uncomfortable. I think we can display courage in our personal lives, in our families, or in our businesses. It's the ability to stand up when others may not. It's the ability to do the right thing when others may not be. But for me, courage has been around about surrounding myself with the right people too. When you know you cannot fail, when you're surrounded by love, when you're surrounded by family, when you're surrounded by friendship, um, I think you tend to be more courageous because it gives you confidence. And for me, that has absolutely been the case in my life. I have had incredible support from my husband, from my family, even my kids, whether it's taking on a new board or traveling to different countries, knowing that I have their support
Uh-huh.
makes me more courageous.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like it shows up in my career. It shows up in my personal life. It shows up in my athletic life. I'm a
Yes.
triathlete. I like to swim, bike, and run.
How many marathons have you done in the past year, Nina?
Oh, marathons are the worst. I have completed 670.3 Ironman races in 3 different continents. I've swam Alcatraz. I've done the 2.5-mile Waikiki rough water swim. I've done my fair share of difficult things and risk-taking.
Mhm.
And earlier today, in fact, I just had a conversation about just how triathlons kind of, and the themes that I've been racing for, oh gosh, 29 years now.
Mhm.
The themes that are relatable when you're training for a triathlon, or it could be anything, quite frankly. It's just the way that I have chosen to kind of cope with the stress and the resilience and practice. Because when you think about building a business, you have to have courage, you have to take risk, you learn how to have difficult conversations, you need to learn humility, learn resilience. All those things show up when you're training for a race. And for me, we need to practice those virtues. You can't just say, I need to be courageous. How do you practice being courageous? You can't just say, I'm up for a real challenge. I've got discipline and consistency. How do we practice that consistency? So for me, getting the practice of all these elements that comprise our journey is
Mm.
so critical. So how do you practice? How do you practice hard conversations? Um, don't don't go off and just, pick on your partner. I'm practicing resilience, but,
Right.
uh, but there are ways that you can find to practice humility, to practice risk taking, to practice all the different elements that have, made up my journey.
So all the learnings that you've learned through the triathlons, the Ironman, Are those things that how have you shared that with your organization? How have you poured into them through those experiences?
I think, by storytelling, for one,
Mhm,
but I think you cannot be what you cannot see.
mhm,
I talk about courage a lot. I can tell you a story of being in the water, getting your goggles kicked, getting run over, literally swam over. I can talk about, being out of breath and just like literally feeling like you're going to not make it. I can talk about all those situations, and then I can I can teach what I've learned in the swimming, for example. What I've learned is that, like in life, you're taking a risk, you're putting yourself out there. There are two dynamics. One is other humans. Well, it depends. If you're swimming in Alcatraz, there's sharks also, but mostly humans that are kicking and shoving and pushing and drowning. Um, that is a dynamic. But the other dynamic is yourself. Is
mhm,
how you react to those situations will define how you're feeling, how your capacity. You can feel out of breath, overwhelmed, like you're gonna die. You can feel out of control. There's so many feelings that you can impose on yourself. And so what I have learned through my own swimming and my own discipline is that translates into the boardroom. So there are very few times where I get out of control in business. There are very few times where I'm running off and shooting off, and I've had to learn the discipline of when a storm is coming, when a difficult challenge is in front of you, when you're getting hit in the head or knocked on your stomach, or you're losing a deal, or you've got complications. You learn that A, the only way out is through, and
mhm,
two, that if you put your head down and you can think and you're calm within all the crazy waters, there's some magic in that clear thinking.
mhm,
And so,
mhm,
the way that I have been able to translate this learning, in the business world, to answer your question, is through role modeling and through action. Not just storytelling, but when your executives see you be vulnerable, you're going first. And I think leaders go first. And when they see you accept that you don't have all the answers, when they see you stay calm in the face of adversity, when they see you do these things and they see leaders going first, it inspires them to do the same.
very good. You answered my question better than I asked it because that's what I wanted you to get to. I think that every experience that a leader has, I think we're all kinds we're different kinds of leaders at different points in time. Transformative, we're servant leaders, we're leaders that develop, we're leaders that, um, you know, um, are able to make some very critical decisions and have to and do those things. But I was just trying to get to the point that every experience that you've had, even outside of your leadership, that's personal. You chose the route, you made a choice, and you've chosen this route to do these competitions. There's so much learning to them. But there's something that you're pouring back into your organization, and I wanted you to talk about what you were aware of that you are pouring back into into your organization. That's exactly what you're doing, and even so much as your peers as well. When you said you're sitting in a board meeting, right?
Mhm.
Um, and there's a lot to that, how you react to things, because I believe that physically we do train our minds on how to react to certain situations. That's why the physical component is so important um, to
I,
our
I
leadership.
I've told my kids, I teach this to my daughters. I used to
Mhm.
say it when they were young. I used to say girls react, but women respond. And
Mm,
so it's that time between reaction and response that can look so vastly different. When they would come to me with a problem, animated, you know, uh, exhausted, upset, I said, take some time to think. Take some time to think. There's a difference between reacting and responding. And
Responding.
most of the time, when we're reacting, we're getting it all wrong because we haven't given ourselves the time and space to think.
Ah,
And
so
so those are just one of the little virtues I try to always, kind of like the early's on time is late that we were talking about
yes, yeah,
earlier before we started. Uh,
exactly.
Reacting versus responding is a big one in our household. and in this
Absolutely.
company too. You can't have executives just reacting. You need them to be thoughtful about a response.
Absolutely. And I think the key word is being thoughtful about the response because you want to get to a very healthy, thoughtful solution. And that's the only way to do so, um, is to have a thoughtful response. So I even think about the communication in our climate right now, the way we communicate with one another.
Mhm.
Um, it's what works is a thoughtful response. What works is true communication, high level skills, which that's what you're describing. Very mature communication.
It describes, you know what this conversation is reminding me of? I had a coach who taught me something that I thought was really powerful in this climate, and I think it's appropriate for the climate, and just our conversation is lending to this.
Mhm,
He said, when people are at odds,
mhm.
oftentimes they get coached to find common ground.
Mm,
The challenge with common ground is that if you're so far to the right or so far to the left, common ground means you lose, right? You lose because either party is not getting what they want and they're losing as a result. And so he taught me this notion of higher ground versus common ground.
yes.
And I said, "Well, what's that?" It's actually quite beautiful. So common ground is coming to a conclusion where not everybody's getting what they want, but they're satisfied or they're
Mhm.
still disappointed.
Right, right.
Higher ground is the ability to understand someone else and have no judgment. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to agree with it. Don't
You
have
do.
to. You just don't have to. You don't have to agree, but you do have to understand.
You do have to understand. To me, it's not even an option. You do have to understand.
I call that higher ground when you can step up, and the way, it was taught to me was, it's like a campground. There's stuff happening in the camp, and you're walking up
Mhm.
the hill, and
Yes.
you can look down and or look where the drama in this case is happening or the difference of opinion is happening, and you could understand it, you could see it because you're coming from higher ground, so you can see the
Mhm,
whole thing.
mhm.
You don't judge it, but you do understand it.
You do understand it.
Mhm.
That's right. And you don't have to agree with it,
That's right.
but you understand it. Understanding does not mean agreeing. How many times and I'm trying to those are the healthy conversations that we're having in our home with the 22-year-old, especially Lauren. Sometimes when you're of that age, you're still forming um, that kind of thought process, you know? I mean, I want her to have that fully established as she grows older, right? And so we often tell her understanding is not agreeing.
That's
It's
right.
just and to understand, it reminds me of, and I'll talk about my faith just a little bit, but, we always talk about being like the eagle. And, the eagle always is high. He always goes high and he stays high, but also he has vision, that's incredible. He's able to, understand, his prey, understand, even those that may be where he could be the prey, right? But the
Mhm.
whole point of the eagle is just the higher levels of which he flies,
Mm.
um, allows him to see all, right? And so we always talk about spiritually, it's just staying high.
Mhm.
Don't go down low, down here, but stay high. So your higher ground reminded me of that because that is where I get the spirit of understanding. That's where I'm able to get a spirit of wisdom, right? Because that's where my wisdom can kick in.
Mhm.
It's when I'm down here, I can't. I can't see down here. You can't see it. You just
Mhm.
can't. So that was good. That was really good, Nina.
Well, thank you. I thought that was a beautiful sentiment as well.
I love that. I love that. Um, I mean, you have been a passionate advocate for diversity, and I love how my daughter and my son look at I mean, she always likes to say I'm a global girl, right?
Mhm. That's beautiful.
There's diversity of thought. I love her friendship groups, how they think differently. They may be the same gender, different races, different cultures, but she always likes to say, I'm a global girl, right? And so, I mean, your passion for diversity and how you have made it such a healthy topic, a healthy example for the business world to see, including myself, whether it's in the boardroom, the C suite. But what actual steps do you believe companies or organizations should take just to make sure there is inclusivity. And it's really funny. My son also, he is co-chair of an organization at his school where they focus on inclusivity. So that means if everyone feels included at St. Mark's, right,
Mhm.
then we're doing our jobs, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Because every young man is so different at that school.
Mhm.
They're
Mhm.
different in their, um, you know, backgrounds, in their cultures, how they're raised, how they think about things. They're so different in what they are involved in, right?
Mhm.
Some are athletes, some are not, some are, part of the math bowl and science, quiz bowl and all that good stuff. So I guess just the topic for me is inclusivity because if you do that, that takes care of everything for me. I don't know. What do you think?
First of all, I think that, you and Lawrence have done an incredible job if your daughter is referring herself to a global girl. The fact that you've given her this awareness that there is a global world out there, is beautiful. Your question was, what can corporations do?
Mhm.
And I think the answer is really simple. It's intentionality. I always find that corporations are sincere about diversity. I can't find a corporation that hasn't been sincere, but I find that few or a, a smaller group,
Mhm.
everyone is sincere, but a smaller group is serious.
Mhm.
And the way that the corporations that are doing it well, that I respect and admire, are the ones that are both not just sincere but serious. And when you're serious about something, you have intentionality, you have metrics, you have people that are responsible for it, and then you measure it. It's just like anything else in business, right? It starts with intentionality. It starts with the tone at the top,
Mhm.
and then it's followed by responsibility, metrics, and then refining, and then refining, and then the cycle occurs over again. And so, at least that is what I have experienced in my own personal experience with working with corporations. I'm proud to say Pinnacle today works with 20% of the Fortune 100, including some of the largest companies in the world. And I get and I say that because I get a good front row seat at the companies that are sincere and serious.
Mhm.
And it's beautiful to watch
Okay.
when the tone is right at the top and the intentionality is there. It's actually a really beautiful thing to watch. In our own business, diversity is a value. It starts at the top. It's part of the culture. It has people responsible, has metrics, and we're constantly refining. 60% of Pinnacle's corporate headquarters are women, 40% are diverse. And this happens naturally. We're not focused on, we don't have, when you're focused on diversity being a value and you have the intentionality behind it, the rest just happens naturally.
Just happens naturally. Yes. I could not agree with you more. Um, there was another guest I had on, he said that it's just a part of how he conducts business. It's just part of the flow. It's not like, a constant talk about. It's just the way that it is.
Mm.
And when you get those that are qualified, who can do the job, there's a natural flow of diversity, but it has to be intentional. He has to make sure that they're all, everything's brought to the table. But
Mhm.
he says it becomes the flow of the business. And actually, he was in the legal field and, was talking about that. But he says that, his best outcomes, his best, um, the best ways of which he's put, won cases has been a diverse group of folks, right? I asked Ron Parker, I don't I know you know Ron, very well, I think. Don't you, Nina? Do you know Ron Parker from
I do.
Frito? Yes. But I asked him
He's a
what
bit of
was
a legend.
that he's a bit of a legend, isn't he? He was my mentor, Nina.
Mhm.
Gosh, when I was in my 20s. That's why I went back to grad school was because of him. So, but I was asking him just the definition, and immediately he said innovation, creativity. And when I think of him and the pioneers of it all, they have done, I mean, they just did a magnificent job in, integrating some, like you said, some of the largest companies. And when you can see it actually flow from the top and they mean what they say, it is a beautiful thing. And I think, Pinnacle is a testament of it all working very well from that point. So,
Well, thank you.
yes, absolutely. Um, You've emphasized the importance of leaders investing in their own development. What are some of the most impactful ways you've prioritized your personal and professional growth over the years?
We talked about that just a little bit by leaders going first.
Yes.
Being, I want to say, relentless is the word that I would use. Um, being relentless about professional and personal development. I think when that tone starts at the top and it trickles down,
Mm.
I think that's been a game changer. And really, our secret sauce at Pinnacle is everyone has a next level. It starts with me. I have had to transform myself. I started the company when I was 25 years old and didn't know a thing.
Wow.
I was young and
Enough.
single and didn't know any better. And today I am very married, tenured, and I'm still learning. And so
Like, how many years have you and Jim been married?
we are about to celebrate our 26th year of marriage.
I wanted to say it was close to mine. I'm 27. So, yes, I remember us comparing notes some time ago. I wanted to say that was about right. Yeah.
End of the month, end of the month.
End of the month.
We get
Is
to
it?
celebrate 26 years.
Oh,
Oh,
that's a
and
blessing. That's awesome.
thank you. We're
Yeah.
super excited about it.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I feel like one of the things that we have done is institute an opportunity for I partnered with a leadership academy. It's the
Mhm.
Stegan Leadership Academy. Rand Stegan has been my personal coach.
Mhm.
And number one, understanding that there is room for coaching is step number one. But
Right.
I've had to transform myself again to be the leader that the company needs me to be at the time that the company needs me. And so shedding your skin, almost transforming yourself into being a more conscious leader, into appreciating and understanding the dynamics that are happening. In my 29-year career as an entrepreneur, we've been through so many setbacks or what I would call challenges, either national or globally, starting with 9/11 in
Mhm.
2001. In
Mhm.
2008, it happened again with the financial collapse,
Mhm.
and then again during COVID. And so each of those times, again, you're using as an opportunity to reload, ride the rebound, and really organize and prioritize yourself. And Pinnacle Secret Sauce is its people. I mean, I take very little credit for what's happening here because when you're building the right team and you have the right mindset of personal development and personal growth, and you're investing in that. I graduated from the Stake Leadership Academy ILP program, and since then, almost every single member of my leadership team, my management team, has also graduated from that academy. And we have about 150 people who have graduated from the FLC, which is a 14-week other leadership program that we also put our leaders through. We believe that leadership is about servant leadership. It's
Yes.
about creating the conditions for other people to succeed. That's the
Mhm.
mentality.
Mhm.
And so that's to answer your question, that is how we reinvest in personal development, both informal and formal,
Mhm.
in ways to help people achieve their next level.
Mm, very good. I wanna find out more about it's called Staten Leadership Academy?
Stagen, the Stagen Leadership Academy, the founder, Rand Stagen, is an incredible human being. It's a Dallas-based company. It was founded by him 25 years ago, as a matter of fact.
Well,
Rand Stagen served as one of the pioneers for conscious capitalism,
mhm.
and he has mentored hundreds, if not thousands, of entrepreneurs. He works with privately held companies. I think, with one exception, Whole Foods. I think they've trained over 9,000 people. They started the relationship with Whole Foods prior to it going public. But it is a beautiful leadership academy that is a local Dallas gem, just a local Dallas jewel.
Well, I will keep that in mind. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to end on this question because I don't wanna, go over my time here, from the time that we started, even though we started early. Just wanted to make sure, but, um, what's the legacy that you hope to leave? I know you have the Nina Vaca Innovation Entrepreneurship Endowment, and I know next generation is a focus for you. I just know that, and so what do you hope your legacy will be, both in business and philanthropy and personally?
Oh gosh, that's such a big question. It's
It
so funny
is.
because my husband and I go on these walks, and we go on these log dog walks. We call them the megathon, the dogathons,
The
and where
Doc-a-thon.
we just get the time to just talk. And this is actually a really interesting topic that we've been talking about. Right?
Mhm, mhm.
Is what is our legacy?
Mhm.
We are one unit. What is our legacy? What do we want to
Mhm.
achieve in our lives? Not just with our children, but with the people that we love. The reason
Yes.
why I wake up every single day and want to lead this company is because this company is a platform for good.
Mhm.
It has become, we are so close to our 30-year anniversary when we get there in a year. 30 years is a generation. It is, if you think about it, 30 years is about a generation. And what a blessing, what a gift that we have been given to be stewards of a platform for good
Mhm.
that has stakeholders, not just our associates, not just our consultants, our customers, but our community. How is it that we can pour our talents and our God given talent to now run this platform that affects so many stakeholders? It is such a beautiful thing, and the reason why we wake up every morning, quite frankly.
Mhm.
Um, for me, on a personal level, ah, I mean, I can't dictate what my legacy will be, but if I had to say is to continue to behave in a way where my legacy is about people. It's not about building companies. Although I'm proud of what we've been able to achieve here, but it'll be around building people, not building companies.
Or I like what you said earlier, investing. You're investing in people. You're reinvesting, right? So,
I am a bit of a developer. I
yes,
love people. I love what Pinnacle has become because
absolutely.
it creates opportunity for people.
Mhm.
I cry when people cross finish lines. I'm that
Yes,
person. I
yes.
believe that a leader creates the conditions for others to succeed. I am still trying to understand why God has blessed me in so many ways, and the only way I can repay him is by opening doors and paving the way for others. And so yeah, it's not quite crystallized yet, but I know that in my own family and in my own community and in my own business, I hope that, I'll be thought about as someone who built people, not built companies.
Well, I think you're already thought about like that. Furthermore, I'm going to say God entrusted you because He knew that you'd be a good steward, and because you have multiplied the business. You've poured out, like you said, locally, regionally, nationally, and now globally, of course. So, um, I just think you're just a testament to what we should be all just focused on intentionally
Oh,
in business and even outside of business, whatever we're doing.
mm.
So thank you.
Well, thank you, Lisa. You're very generous. Please know that I did not do this on my own. I have just an incredible amount of
I know
people
it's your
that are
people. Yeah,
are
I know
surrounding.
you do, but you've also inspired them and you empowered them to be their best, and that's what you've gotten. You've gotten great results. So,
Thank you. Well, we are on our way. Hopefully by this year, knock on wood, by this year, next year, we have a big, hairy, audacious goal, and we have all the ingredients to achieve this goal. I am putting
yes,
it out there.
yes.
Pinnacle is set to be the largest diversity MSP in the world. We made our
Wow.
debut in the SIA landscape. This year,
Oh,
which is our watchdog, our industry that calculates the countries, the currencies that you're in, and we are in that formidable race. We're already the largest VMS agnostic diverse MSP in the world, but we want to achieve that next level, and we have all the ingredients. We have the right people, the right customer base, everything.
absolutely.
We do.
Absolutely. Congratulations. You know what? You know that Lawrence and I celebrate from afar. So, we are Nina and Jim fans. So you tell me something like that, it doesn't surprise me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for allowing me to support you in this endeavor.
I know
Um,
you know what? It helps me keep I would say it helps me keep my pressure down, right? It helps me to stay in higher ground too,
right,
right?
right, right. You're that eagle. You're
I'm
that
that
eagle that you
eagle,
were
that
talking
eagle. That yeah, I'm telling you, that is exactly it. You gotta stay, in higher ground. I wanna stay soaring above. I really
about.
do.
You know
So
what I love about, this conversation is it wasn't just about business. It
ye
was, we have to remember that we are human beings, not human doers, and having the conversation about the totality of the person, your leadership, your mindset, how you approach different things, because
yeah,
you're one human, one person.
we
And,
are.
talking just about the business would
Yes.
be leaving out just the incredible growth that happens outside of the business with you as a human,
That's
as a
right.
mother, as a wife, as a
That's right.
human.
Because honestly, transparency is a huge part, I think, of your success as well, of very effective leaders. You're very transparent.
Thank you
And
for that.
so, and being transparent, you talk about an array of things because all of it affects an organization, who you are as a leader and an executive and all of that. So, yeah.
Well, when I agree to do a podcast, I de facto agree to a level of vulnerability. Nobody wants to hear just a success story.
No,
I mean,
no.
if
Yes.
I do something, then
Yeah,
let it be of service.
that's right.
I
That's
I
right.
I I know my story. I don't, but
Yes,
if my story can somehow teach, inspire,
yes,
or motivate,
yes.
feel like now this is a beautiful time well spent because we're using our story for a good purpose.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And, I could not agree with you more. So, all right, Nina. Well, thank you for just, saying yes. It truly was an honor. So,
Oh, thank you for your patience. And I know this was a long time coming, and I'm so glad that we got a chance to do it. It was beautiful.
me too. Me too. It filled my cup. I like at the end, it fills my cup. I'm good.